Alia never believed in love at first sight. She believed love needed time, patience, and 1,000 shared moments. But everything she believed changed the day Noor walked into her life. It was the first semester of college, the sun was bright, students were rushing to classes, and Alia stood under a tree, nervously holding her schedule. And then she saw her. Noor walked toward the building with a calm confidence, hair tied loosely, eyes shining with something playful and soft at the same time. She wasn't the loud type, she blended effortlessly into the morning light, like she belonged to it. Alia didn't even realize she was staring until Noor turned, held her gaze for a second, and gave her a small, warm smile. That smile stayed in Alia's mind long after Noor disappeared into the crowd. Their first real interaction happened in the library. Alia was sitting alone, studying, when Noor approached and asked, "Is this seat taken?" Her voice was polite, gentle, almost musical. Alia shook her head, trying not to look awkward. Noor sat beside her, opened her laptop, and within minutes the two were exchanging tiny smiles over silly things, like the loud sneeze from the next table, or the librarian's dramatic shushing. Something unspoken formed between them in that silent room. Day by day, their friendship deepened. They studied together, walked to classes together, shared snacks, shared stories, shared pieces of their hearts without even knowing. Noor would tap Alia's shoulder whenever she spaced out, and Alia would fix Noor's hair when the wind messed it up. Their small routines became their comfort. One evening they sat on the grass behind the campus. The sky was painted pink and purple. Noor lay back, staring at the clouds, while Alia sat next to her, pretending not to notice how beautiful she looked in that fading light. Noor suddenly asked, "Do you ever feel like you're searching for something, but you don't know what it is?" Her voice was soft, almost vulnerable. Alia turned to look at her. "Maybe," she whispered. Noor's eyes met hers. "I feel like I'm searching for a place where I truly fit, a person who makes everything feel right." Alia's heart tightened. She wanted to say you already found her, but her lips stayed still. Weeks turned into months, and their closeness grew into something that felt almost like a secret. People around them noticed how Noor's face lit up when she saw Alia, how Alia listened to Noor even when she wasn't speaking, how their laughter always sounded fuller when they were together. But neither of them addressed it. Maybe they were scared of naming something that felt too fragile and too precious. Everything changed one cold winter night. They had gone out for coffee after an exhausting week of exams. When they stepped outside, the wind was sharp, almost painful. Noor wrapped her scarf tightly around her neck while Alia shivered in her thin sweater. Noor sighed, walked forward, and gently wrapped her scarf around Alia instead. "You'll freeze," she said softly. "And what about you?" Alia asked. "I'm warm enough," Noor lied with an adorable smile. Alia felt something shift inside her, something she could no longer hide. They walked slowly through the empty streets, their breaths forming small clouds in the air. Alia suddenly stopped. Noor turned, confused. "What happened?" Alia hesitated for a long time before speaking. "Noor, do you ever feel something, more than you're supposed to?" Noor's expression changed. She stepped closer. "Yes," she whispered. "All the time." The wind stilled around them. The streetlights cast a golden glow over Noor's face. Alia felt her heartbeat everywhere, in her chest, in her throat, in her fingertips. "I think about you," she said quietly. "More than I should." Noor breathed out shakily. "Alia, every moment with you feels different. Softer, safer. I don't feel this way with anyone else." Their faces were inches apart. Neither moved. They didn't need to. The silence between them spoke louder than any confession. But Noor stepped back slowly, her voice trembling. "Alia, I'm scared. What if I ruin what we have?" Alia's chest tightened. She walked closer and took Noor's cold hands in her warm ones. "You could never ruin anything. I'm scared too, but I'm more scared of pretending I don't feel this." For a long moment, Noor just stared at her, eyes shining with something she had hidden for months. And then she leaned forward, slowly, gently, and rested her forehead against Alia's. Their breaths mingled, soft and warm. "No labels, no pressure," Noor whispered. "Just us." Alia closed her eyes, a smile blooming on her lips. "Just us." After that night, something changed, with ease, with tenderness. They didn't rush anything. They didn't define everything. They just allowed themselves to feel, to grow, to fall deeper. They took long walks, sometimes talking for hours, sometimes saying nothing at all. Noor would rest her head on Alia's shoulder during late-night study breaks. Alia would hold Noor's hand whenever she felt stressed. Their small touches carried more meaning than the biggest declarations of love. One rainy afternoon, they got caught outside without umbrellas. They ran for shelter, drenched and laughing. When they finally stopped under a small shop roof, Noor looked at Alia, really looked at her. Her wet hair, her bright eyes, her breathless smile. Noor's heart flipped. Alia asked softly, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Noor stepped closer. "Because every time I think I've fallen as much as I can, I fall again." Alia's cheeks warmed. She whispered, "Then fall. I'm not going anywhere." Noor wrapped her arms around her, and Alia held her just as tightly. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was real. As the months passed, they became each other's favorite part of life. Noor would leave small notes on Alia's desk. Alia would bring Noor her favorite chocolate when she had a bad day. They built something gentle, something steady, something that felt like home. One night on the college rooftop, Noor leaned against Alia, watching the city lights. She whispered, "I think I finally found where I fit, where I belong." Alia looked at her, heart full. "Where?" "In you," Noor said quietly. Alia wrapped her arms around her, and Noor melted into her. The stars shimmered above them, and the world felt still. Two hearts that spent so long searching had finally found each other, without hurry, without fear, only love.